Good morning. Good morning. All right. So we had a move down overnight. Nice move down. We swept we swept yesterday, or we went past, went lower than previous day low. Hanging out around lowest close a month on NASDAQ. We didn't quite get down to previous day low on ES, so see how we shape up here today. We are sweeping the high and the low of pre-market. All right, so on the hourly, we are below the 20 SMA. On NASDAQ, on ES, we are, pushing higher over that 20 SMA. Same thing on the 4-hour. They're crossing up on ES, crossing down on NASDAQ. Kind of a weird divergence going on with these two, but should see a nice move higher today with how much we went down overnight. So we'll let this play out for a minute or two. See what the market wants to give us, and then we will get into some trades. All right, once we sweep these overnight lows over here, that's crazy. That blue line that I have on my chart it's one of the 15-minute opening ranges. It acted as a level of support overnight. We got news. Not really. So we'll see. We'll see what we do here. We did sweep that overnight low. Is this just another dump session today? That's crazy. I don't know why the market's been so weak. Haven't had any war news or anything. We got that 5-minute closure below this low here. So you can see that I plotted a swing or a fib for this swing for us to pull back into that area. It's kind of wild if we just dump a Rue today. We do have June lowest close of month sitting down there. I'm just looking to see what levels we have over here to the left. We do have this guy. Could come down to that 474. ES swept the London overnight low. So we'll see how we react here. About 5 minutes into the market being open. We could get into a short position targeting this 474 level. Stop up here at the 577. But it looks like we're rejecting pretty quickly off of that area. So we'll see. Wow. Would have been a nice short. Well, we'll watch for this area down here. This 574 could be a potential bounce area for price to find some orders and move back up into this range. There's a 70-point candle. Okay, so Nasdaq's doing that today. See that? Big down candle, up candle. Our next candle just completely engulfs it. Well, we didn't close above it, but we did push higher. ES looking weaker today, which is different than what we've been seeing. Yeah, we got some crazy price action going on tonight. So we swept the obviously the London lows. The London high may be the next thing on the table. We get a pullback here. I'm gonna go long, targeting the London highs on the Tradeify accounts. ES is rejecting off that 20 SMA. Swept the high, push lower. So I don't know. I don't know if longs are the play here. Maybe like a scalp for a long, but it does look weak, huh? I don't know if I trust the longs here. Like that 15-minute chart is just looking nasty. Good thing we got evals, right? See, but that move right there, that push down, and then now we're, looking like we want to go higher. We did retrace 50%, so we can do a little bit of this. I don't know. I don't really trust the longs, even though it looks like we might be setting up for a fib geometry setup. I just don't trust the longs. We did have that move down overnight, so I might get long here. Stop at 24. That'd be 60 points. That'd be like 120 with 1 micro. That we're risking. Just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait. All right, we're gonna try it.
Order filled. Order filled.
We got our stop at 20. We're gonna do take profit. Our entry is 595. So that previous day low at 683 would be a good target. Just the off chance that we do want to continue higher here. I know we're looking weak, but 595, 620, and it's rejected pretty rough immediately. So that's what the position looks like there. If we get stopped out of this, that's all right, you know. I didn't like the longs, but we know how NASDAQ likes to move. It likes to fake everyone out going down, and then it just retraces the whole move up. So, and if we get past this wick low here at 524.5, don't want to be a part of that anymore. And that's why I got my stop set there. We're risking about 140 on this trade to make a little under 200. We do have the 15-minute opening range set. Let me get there to this line. If it wants to come down and stop us out, which it's looking like it wants to, so be it. Yep.
Stop filled.
Looking super weak. Super weak. But we also know how NASDAQ likes to move. It likes to take my stop and then continue higher. So like, I honestly think it's a joke sometimes. ES is looking nicer as usual. I just don't really see a reason for us going lower, you know? Like, what is the catalyst for this? Other than we're going lower. Alright, that fib geometry is coming off. Well, we came about 6 points away from that 30% pullback into the swing. And then we rejected from there. That's where I entered long, shooting, you know, up into that 70% area. See how we react down here. These levels, the 474, 440, and then like the 400s. All right, NASDAQ just swept that 15-minute opening range low. ES has not. The market is moving strange today. I could see it's coming down to that 400s though, because if you look over here on the 15-minute, this swing that I have drawn, that wick low is way down there at 350. So could see a move down to that area. We did reject off that 20 SMA pretty nicely there on the 1 minute. ES is kind of doing the same thing. We got overnight lows on ES at 63. We're about 7 points away from that. See, I was like, it's looking weak. Then I went long. See if we get a retest of that 15-minute opening range low there. If we do, that would be a nice, you know, short down into that 400 area. We got ES coming down to take those overnight lows. We are just dumping, man. I do not like this price action. All right, well, we're coming down to that 400 area. We're at the 430s right now. Next stop is 400, and then the 390s or 350s. This wick low. 350s. Bulls are just struggling to push this up any sort of bit. That is it's a little strange, you know. Could see a little bit of a retest here off the 15-minute opening range. And be, if we, you know, played that, be from, you know, 92, the stop would be up here at this wick high. Around 40. Man, we are just dump-a-rooney. See, I don't know why I got into a long position. Everything was showing me that we're gonna go lower. That's where you get caught up in the moment. You let the emotions take over. What happened before doesn't have to happen again today. So, you know, that would have been a good short entry right there, actually. And stop above that 30%, but can't go back and change that. Another good entry for the journal. You just don't want to take part in this because it's not like a consistent dump. You know, sure, it looks like it, but we're like, they're struggling, you know? like versus these kind of moves. Where are we at? Over here. You know, where we were just fucking going down. I mean, clearly. All right, that's a pretty strong candle there. It is the top of the hour, so you usually, you know, see some volume coming off of that. So we'll see how this plays out. We got close to that 15-minute opening range low. Just fucking rejecting hard. I'm gonna set a limit there. A sell limit at 91. So this position, if we get tapped in, would look something like this.
Order filled.
Okay, well there it is. I put my take profit at 405. Just being next to that round number of 400. I don't usually like setting my take profit right there, you know, right at 400, because we could just approach it and then, you know, come 1 or 2 points away from it and then fly, bounce. So we'll see. We did get a nice rejection off of that 20 SMA and the 15-minute opening range low. On the 1 minute, I want to see a closure below. Okay. Nice little closure below. Let's push lower. Let's push lower. That's not lower. See, and this is why it's tough to to short. I mean, everything's hindsight, right? But it's tough to get into a short, especially after we move down so drastically, especially overnight, because you get in and then it bounces and it takes you out. But then once it takes you out, it continues lower. You know, it's like what are we doing here, NASDAQ? Yeah, as soon as I enter a short, they will wick it up. Yeah, that's how it feels, huh? Because I mean, like, look at this hourly candle. Like, giant hourly candle, and now they're just gonna fuck around and send it back up. I mean, we don't know, but that's what it feels like, you know? It feels like, oh, I entered a short, now they're gonna send it. But we are rejecting pretty nicely off that 15-minute opening range low. We're up, you know, we're basically break even on the Tradeify accounts now. I do want to move my stop down to that 505 area. Just to limit risk. I'm moving it. All right, so we de-risked there. Now we're only risking 15 points, 14.75 points. So in the event they do want to just send this back up, we'll be, we're protecting ourselves, but we're about 20 points away from TP. Come on, NASDAQ. Come on, sweetheart. Come on, Bears. Come on, Bears. No. Come on, Bears. Okay. Random support, right? Like, we didn't sweep shit. We just pushed down, and then they were like, air. Fucking airbenders? Like, what are we doing here? No. The fuck is this? Like, nothing. There's no support there. They just said, fuck this, we're out. I mean, like, really? Well, we're only risking, excuse me, we're only risking about 60 bucks on this. With the stop move down, I don't like this at all. This is fucking stupid. Uh, like, literally, there's nothing down here to support that move up. Buyers just said, yeah, we're here. We're here, even though we weren't here earlier. Could just be a little bit of a pullback, fake buyers out, get buyers trapped, and then send it lower to break the lows. And then they'll send it higher. So let's see. I got my finger over the trigger to take this profit. If I see us break those lows, it's going to be a quick move down, I think, and then we'll be, rubber band back up. But I have my finger over the trigger ready to take that profit because we snap below that low. I'm going to take it. Come on, Foto, get down there. Just fucking air, literally air. Like, what are we finding support on here? Please open the order book and show me.
Order filled.
All right, I'm out. Fuck NASDAQ. We made money. $300 on that trade. Fuck you, NASDAQ. ES, you're cool. Yeah, so that was about, we went from 91 down to 416.25. See, what did I say? We broke the low. That's why I took that profit, because we broke the low And then what did Nasdaq do? It said boing, like just boing up, right? Like, nah. I don't want to play with you anymore, Nasdaq. Come here, yes. Get over here. That's a W. We're green. That's a $300 trade. We lost the first one, won the second one. So, how do we say thank you to Nasdaq? Like that. Let me see how ES reacts here. Thank you. We got in off the 15-minute opening range low. We targeted the lows. You know, I wanted this 400 area down here, which we're probably going to get. It's just this fucking back and forth is just way too much on NASDAQ right now. At any moment, they could just, you know, send a candle 100 points higher, take out this high, and then they come back down. So we got our money. We ran. It's looking heavy still, but I just don't like the way that it's boing, 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 boing. So what do I do with these accounts? I lock them out. Yep, those are the Tradeify accounts. So we got one funded, one eval. Funded has 157 on it today, which is great. I'm trading the Tradeify funded, the funded account that I have with Tradeify. I'm not as like reserved with that one, and I don't know why I am with the Lucid accounts. There's we're coming down to 405. There's 405. I don't know why I'm not as reserved as I am like with the Lucid accounts. I think it's just because I've been so close to payout on the Lucid accounts or on a Lucid account for so long that I just want to be reserved and just continue what I've been doing with those accounts with getting my $50 to $100 a day, calling it good. The Tradeify accounts, I'm willing to play with this beast of NASDAQ a little bit more. Just because I've been trading well with those Tradeify accounts on NASDAQ. You know, we've been catching pretty large moves. I know we've been losing as well, but, you know, we lose one, we win one. It's the same. We lost 75 points. We made 75 points. I went in with 2 micros on this one because I trusted the setup. I like that 15-minute opening range low, retest, and break. And we are fucking just dumping now, man. We're coming down to that 350 area. We might see that 350 area, which is this wick low here from Thursday. Might see that area, you know, sweep. And then I'll move this line down there. Might see that area get swept, and then, you know, we push. We'll probably just keep pushing lower because NASDAQ can't find a footing right now. See, it's so funny. Like, in the moment, in this trade, it's like, fuck, 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 fuck. Now we're 100, you know, almost 100 points away. We are 100 points away from entry. That's so funny how the market works like that, huh? How I shouldn't say the market, how our human emotions play with us like that. But I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. That's cool. I made money. I came back from a loss, 1 red trade, 1 green trade. I'm cool. The market can go to hell all the way down here, and I'll be fine. Haven't touched the Lucid funded yet. 7:13, so, you know, we got about 15 to 20 minutes left on the stream. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. While this is doing its thing, let's get some music going. All right. I drew those circles there because those are the next key areas. We blew through that 350. But see, this is why it's good to have these unmitigated swings. Like this was from Thursday. You know, I took a loss in that Asian session on Thursday. Or what is it? What the fuck? Yeah, Thursday. Took a loss in the Asian session because I was expecting the market to come down and test this area. We're not really testing it right now. We're just fucking blowing through it, but those are key, you know, those are areas you can target. So like here, I know I have a lot of fibs on my chart. But like here, how, you know, we took this long. I was expecting that. That's crazy how that lines up. But I was expecting us to push up into this 30%, you know, retracement and then move down. And you can take that move. So I'm just going to put a position on the chart. You know, like if you were to get tapped into on that 30%, you can target the next 30%, right? And you can set your stop. Hell, you can set your stop above the 70%. That's still over a 1-to-1 whisk to reward. You can target the 70% since you have your stop at the 70%. You know, like that's why I like the unmitigated areas, because it leaves stuff on the chart for you. It leaves levels behind. It leaves something to look at so that you're not, you know, like I just this was over here this morning. This was just chilling here when we opened, and I was like, "Oh, look at this. Let's move this over." You know? Areas to target, areas to target. Sure, we went down to that 50% and then we bounced, but then when we bounced, that's where we entered. So that area did provide us something. That 50% we bounced, rejected off the 15-minute opening range low, which is what we predicted would happen. I didn't know that. We entered, we had our risk set up here, right, at 50. And then once we started pushing lower, I said, okay, let's de-risk. Let's put it at the high. You know, let's put it at the high of that wick, of that candle, targeting the lows. I originally targeted that 70%, you know, a couple points above at 405, and that worked out. And then I said the next level down is at 350. That's the low of this anchor, the low of this swing that I anchored this fib to. So I like walking through that stuff after the fact because it helps reinforce what I'm doing. You know, like what I'm looking at, that I'm not just like, fuck it, we're shorting here. It's actually, you know, methodical. There's a thought process behind it, not just like some people like, oh, okay, well, we swept this area, let's fucking long. Let's short. You know, like some people would have saw this sweep right here, push up, enter a long with their stop right here at 413, and they just get immediately stopped out. And then they keep trying to long, 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 long. Account blown, right? Like, that's not what I'm about anymore. Sure, I used to do that, but not, I don't like trading like that anymore. I like having a reason. Because then I can go back and look and be like, why the fuck did you get into that trade? Oh, okay. Well, you were looking at, you know, a continuation move higher to take out the highs of pre-market in London. But what was my first analysis this morning? I drew this fib. I said, look, we got this swing. We closed below the overnight lows. I drew that swing. I said, let's see a retracement back into this area to go lower. And what did I do? I longed it. Strictly because I said, oh, you know, we know how NASDAQ likes to move and retrace the whole move down. Well, I was wrong as fuck. Like, my original analysis of, okay, we might come up to this 30% area and then continue lower to take out some of these areas down here, which we have this fib from the swing on Thursday sitting down here. Like, you know, it was sitting there on a plate for me, and I said, get that shit out of here. And then I lost. So it's experiencing that over and 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 over, looking at the chart after the fact and being like, well, shit, my first analysis was right and I went against myself and I lost. I have to experience that countless times for me to get it. That's just the kind of person I am. I have to experience pain to learn. Not that I enjoy the pain, unless it's like working out, you know. But that's just how I learn, is I have to be wrong. I have to be wrong. I have to feel that pain of being wrong to not trick myself into thinking, "Oh, no, your first analysis was wrong. This new analysis is right." No, what I first look at is generally the right thing. Like this short, you know, old me, I say old me, younger me, would have probably longed it right here to try to be right on this move again, be right where I was wrong before. And I didn't do that. I just said, no, we're playing it how we see it. 15-minute opening range low, reject. We had a limit order sitting there. That way we're not trying to, you know, get filled on a market and then we get filled 30 points lower. Limit order, boom. Take the trade, lock the accounts. One step closer to a payout on the Tradeify account. Lucid accounts are still safe today. They're sitting at 0 because I don't feel comfortable trading them in this environment because this shit is crazy. This is the Tradeify account, the funded account. We got, you know, $83 day on Thursday. That was a comeback day. We got a $200 day yesterday, and then we got a $150 day today. So that'll be 2 of 5 winning days with at least $100 in profit. We have to get over the buffer. I think the buffer is 1,500, so we're getting there. Slowly but surely. Who's Shirley? I don't know, but we're getting there. You can see the areas that I drew this circle around. Shit left behind, right? Levels left behind. That's why I also like having these stoic levels on the chart, because it gives you a sense of direction. So you're not, like, we're not, like, if these weren't here, you know, that to me, I'm just looking at air. I'm not, you know, there's not anything to go off of. There's not, it's just levels, you know, you're just looking at levels. Okay, well, we got this low, we got this low, we got this low. Which is, I mean, and that's my preference, you know. I like having the stoic levels because Stoic himself has shown how reactive and how key these levels are. Excuse me. So we're about 200 points from our entry at the 15-minute opening range low. Something that I do want to try to work on and, practice is, I went in with 2 micros, take profit on one at my original take profit, move stop to break even, and then let the other one ride down to the next key level. I was targeting that 404. The next key level for me would have been that 350. So, you get one contract at 74 points and then the second contract at 140. So, that's something that I got to work on. Something that I want to try to implement is letting runners run. But, right now I'm just really focusing on securing the profit and seeing my trade setups play out. So that way in the future, when I say, okay, I'm entering off the 15-minute opening range low, we got all these levels sitting down here below us. That would key to me, okay, take one, leave one, or go in with 3, take 2 and leave 1, That all comes with time, all comes with, just time on the charts, experiencing those W's, because this is something that I'm not used to, is winning. I know I've taken lots of wins on the stream, I've taken a couple losses, but being this consistent is not something that I'm used to yet. My nervous system still fights me on it whenever I'm in a winner and I see the profit. It's like exit, 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 and it goes against me a little bit. Exit, exit, exit. That's your nervous system reacting to what you're used to. So that's what I'm trying to break out of and form different habits, is taking the profit at my take profit, not when I see the trade get slightly red or slightly, green to less green. So we're working on it. Give me just a second, okay? All right. Sorry, I just had to do something real quick. Um, all right. Well, yes, we got down to that, previous day low area. We got about 2 ticks away from it. Nasdaq's trying to find something here. Yeah, I mean, like the hourly on Nasdaq this morning was screaming bearish. The hourly on ES, we swept that high and then continued lower. So, the higher time frame analysis was there. You can see here on the 5-minute that pink line is a sweep on the higher time frame. So we swept the hourly, came down, retested, and then boom, we dropped. So the higher time frame alignment is, generally there. That tells the bigger story. And I saw that when I got into the first long, and I didn't follow that. I just went against it. So that there's no one to blame except myself here. The market did what it was supposed to. So we may find some support here at June lowest close of month. That's previous lowest close of month, and plow previous low of week. We got ES and Nasdaq have some significant divergence just on the higher time frames because previous low of week is way down here on ES. Same with June lowest close of month. So we could see some support here. If we see like a push up, we break over this 20 SMA and then we retest and hold this low, then I may trust longs going back up, but at this point I'm just kind of hands off on the Lucid funded accounts. We don't have to trade every day. There were opportunities here for me to take, but I was focused on Nasdaq this morning on my Tradeify funded and eval. So that's all right. We'll move on. I have an Apex eval that I might trade as well today. I took a win on it last night. I'll show you guys that here in a second. You can see that $627 win was from over here on Nasdaq. I took the short down to there was a fib here that I had drawn to the 30% of a fib down here. 71 points, went in with 5 micros, made 600 bucks. I like trading that Apex eval in Asia just because the Apex evals are cheap right now. And I'm trying to get some kind of strategy down in Asia because I'm not sitting here looking at the charts all night. But I do like watching it, to end my work day as I'm wrapping things up at work. The market opens, Globex opens, and then Asia opens shortly after. So I do like to watch the market and just kind of see, how we're moving, and then try to take a trade and catch a move. All right, so right here I'm looking at the higher time frame swings to see where we're at. We didn't quite close below this low on ES at 44. We did close below this low at 52, so I'm going to draw a fib. I'll put the 0 and the 1 on there. So this is on the 15-minute chart. You can see from this low to this high, price will eventually come back up into this swing so that it can either continue lower or find support and then, invalidate that area. But at this point, this is an unmitigated swing area. So you can see that. I'm going to take the 0 and the 1 off just because it's a lot on the chart. Okay, that's the kind of hold that I wanted to see on ES here. See how we pushed down violently and then buyers just bought it right back up? It's a good sign that we may continue higher, that we may see a move higher. But in order for me to get into a long, I do want to see a fib geometry setup play out. That way I'm not just guessing where the low is. NQ since we swept 1 hour. Yeah, we did sweep those lows, so that's an external sweep. We did sweep this low over here as well. So this sweep, the sweep of this area wouldn't be as validating as the sweep of the previous low of week. So to answer your question, yes. We swept previous low of week. We swept June lowest close of month, so we could draw the fib geo setup. If it plays out, that's up to the market, but we'll put the fib extensions on there. And we'll see how this ends up working. I'm gonna delete that swing. But you know, on days like this, you could also just play the moving averages. You know, wait for price to touch the moving average. We reject, enter off the close of the candle that rejected off the moving average, stop above it, targeting the low. You know, you can find some success there. You just get caught if the market reverses. You know, if it decides to reverse on the swing, you decide to get short on. All right, so we just swept that low, or we didn't sweep it. We just pushed past that low on NASDAQ. Looks like we're going to take that low out. So the market's not ready. The market is not ready to go higher just yet. Now, ES just swept that previous day low. You see that little we just beep, pop below it, and then right back up. Man, this is great. I mean, like, people don't want the market to go down, you know, like we all have 401ks and stuff, but this is great. We needed this. We needed this, even though it's not like a correction, we needed this move down so that we're not just going up indefinitely. We did get that play on ES as well, like the 15-minute opening range retest and then break below. That would have been an area, you know, where you wanted to have a limit set because it only tapped it once. It tapped it once and then, you know, it went from there. So I like looking at those setups after the fact because it helps confirm, you know, okay, yeah, it worked on both of them today. You know, and who knows, I may get to a payout on my Tradify account before I do on my Lucid accounts. That's all right though. Payout is a payout, right? And I'm haven't touched my Lucid accounts today. You can see zeros. Zeros is better than a red number, so. Did we find support finally? Did we find some support? Look at this little fib geometry. Little baby. And that 4-hour candle is super strong. Super bearish. All right, well, we had that sustained move to the downside today. You know, had a couple opportunities that we didn't capitalize on, but we did capitalize on one of them to get us back green on the Tradeify accounts. So, call that a winning day. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't call it a winning day when you're green. You know, I'm going to call it there. I don't know if I'm going to trade my Lucid funded accounts today unless something is like screaming at me to say, hey, look at this. But you know, if that doesn't present itself, if there's not a setup, then I'm not going to force it and try to get some profit on there just to trade. So if you're green, I'd say lock it up. If you're red, you know, give yourself a couple more trades, one or two more trades, lock it up, save the accounts. Market's always going to be here. You don't need to make it all back in one day if you are red. And if you're green, even slightly green, that's good. You don't need to get all the profit in one day either. So I'm going to wrap it up here, call it a day. Nice move down. Got some winning trade. You know, we got a winning trade. We had a loser at first, made it up with the winner. Had some good analysis, some good overview of what we're looking at, areas to target. So, call it good there. Hope everyone has a good day. God bless, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.